You guys, I am on fire today. So good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to just really have a really open, honest conversation with you today about getting paid what you're worth. So first and foremost, let's start with a little scripture. So this morning, first of all, most of you guys already know this. I have a crazy hunger for figuring out how to unleash myself, unleash you to be able to create the biggest possibilities in your life with your business. Because I'm a business coach, that's just the sliver of our lives that I hold. I have this uncanny ability to be able to prioritize things in a way that helps not only a company scale, but for your life to scale with it in a very positive way. So with that being said, part of my unleashing has been this conversation around how do I conversate with God in a more clear way? Like how do you know when it's intuition? Because your intuition, and I deal with this all the time. I have so many spiritual clients, and I deal with this conversation where I know without a doubt, and remember, I'm doing God's work too, right? I know without a doubt that they need to go this direction in order for the pieces to come together for their company to serve as many people as possible, right? To really make an impact and be on purpose with their gifts. But their intuition says, this isn't right, let me hold back. And what happens is they make decisions based on what they say is God, but it actually is from a place of safety. Now, why am I bold enough to say that? Like, how do I know? Well, I don't know. I know how to do my piece. I know how to do the piece that God has showed me how to do. And I have a vision, and my vision becomes your vision, and I take on your vision, and then I can see the path to do it. But what I realize so often is that when we go into meditation or prayer or asking our gut, and by the way, please follow your gut. If you're walking down a dark alley and you're feeling uncomfortable and you're afraid, then there's probably a good reason to be afraid. Your instincts are coming up to say, red alert, you could be in trouble. Whether you are or you're not, you could be in trouble, right? So your instincts are there to protect you. We are animals. The animals in the wild know when there's a predator, or they hope they know when there's a predator around to keep themselves safe. And they do things to camouflage themselves so that they're not seen, which does not work for you as an entrepreneur, especially in this day and age. You have to become a major influencer. You know, I was just talking to a PR company yesterday and about sitting down and advising them because of the fact that I'm like, you guys are like, they're already doing online stuff, but I'm like, you guys need to be advising your clothing companies, your chefs that you work with, the hotel clients that you have. You need to be advising these people to come out from being hidden and start doing Facebook Lives, start doing Instagram Lives. Yesterday I did an Instagram Live about putting my phone in the box, right? Like I was the end of the day and I was showing everybody. Like it was just literally a probably 3 to 5 minute Facebook Live or Instagram Live where I was just saying, hey, here's a problem I'm having. Maybe you're having it too. I have a drive that keeps having me on my phone all the way to bed, right? And I don't want to go to bed with my phone. It doesn't shut down your nervous system, and it causes me to have surface relationships and conversations versus intimate, connected in the way that I want to live my life. And so I bought a box, and it's the phone box. I did an Instagram Live on the phone box and put my phone in the box. Those little things need to be done on a regular basis by every human being that's running a business. So whether you're a PR company advising clients, you need to teach people how to become massive influencers. However, your instincts cause you to camouflage, right? And so I've really had this quest of trying to figure out, what is God, what is instinct, right? And I'm sure instinct is God too on some level, right? But how do you decipher? Because I want to be in partnership with God because God sees the much bigger plan than what I see. So I was reading the Bible this morning, and this morning it said, teach those who are rich in the world not to be proud and not to trust in their money. I've built a whole community called Marketing Mastery around this. They are required to give and give to each other, play contests. We do contests inside of our company. I look for the people playing and the people not playing. If I have somebody not playing for 3 years in a row, they probably need to leave the community because they're not giving, right? As much as they might think they are, they're not, right? And so, this is why. This is exactly why. Everybody I know who's made a lot of money, the money does this. And sure, you have your group of friends that hopefully do this, right? But you have to have more than just your friends to survive in the economy coming. You just do. Actually, you know that now. To thrive in the economy that's here right now, you have to be an influencer, which means that it's more than just your friends. It's also who you look up and help in the world is really important for you to make a difference. And the people who are not rock stars but are evolving rock stars are another group of people that you need to pay attention to, because it doesn't take long in this day and age for them to become super influencers, right? So the Bible says, do not trust in, tell the rich people not to trust in their money or be too proud, which is because it's so unreliable. Their trust should be in God, who richly gives us all we need for our enjoyment. Tell them to use their money to do good. Freaking tithe it. Give it. I am asked on a monthly basis to give money to a leadership group in town. I always do it. Right? It's not like, oh God, here I go, I'm getting hit up again. It's like, no, thank God that they see me as such an influencer that they reach out to me thinking I'm low-hanging fruit. That's great. That means they look up to me, right? They see me as power. If somebody's reaching out to you because they're standing for you to take their program or to invest in yourself, congratulations, they believe you actually have what it takes. If they thought you were a loser, they would not be following up with you. Just think about that. Watch your instincts. They'll have you be hidden. Tell them to use their money for good. They should be rich in good works and generous to those in need. Always be ready to share with others. That's looking up and helping other people, right? By doing this, you will be storing up their treasures as a good foundation for the future. For the future. It's called tomorrow. It's called next month. That's called what are your dreams for the end of this year? Right? That's your future. It's not going to happen, you guys, from just hard work. In fact, if you're exhausted in hard work, I'm telling you, you are not letting go of something. Right? You should have enough space in your life to always be able to look up and help. If you don't, controller, today, look for what you need to let go of, okay? So it stores up your treasures for the good future so that they may experience true life. So, I think that's all I want to read on this. So after reading this morning, I reached out to a woman that basically sees, not psychic. She doesn't get paid to be a psychic, none of that conversation. But she just sees differently. And so I've asked her this morning if I can work with her to further listen to God. So, I'm a very big advocate on your mindset, and your partnership with God is a huge piece in you succeeding. I hold formulas, but where do you think my guts have come from, or the ideas have come from for me to come up with these funnels or these positioning for people's companies? They come from a pure gift of being able to listen to the person in front of me and what their vision is. And if someone doesn't have a vision, then you need to come do my leadership training in January, okay? Your vision should be so big. Like, it shouldn't be like, I just want to make $5,000. Like, now don't get me wrong, that was my first vision, was to make $5,000 a month. You've probably heard me say that, but it was a very small vision, right? It was a very small vision. And I didn't really trust in a deep faith I was spiritual. I was very spiritual. I was going to church. I was reading Course in Miracles. I was doing all the things that looked good. But underneath the surface, I'm telling you, it was a mess. I was a mess underneath the surface. I didn't really have a big dream for myself or really get that I mattered to the level that I do get today, which is why I'm unleashed now, right? Like yesterday I got up at midnight. Carla came over, my stylist, and I was like dead by like 2:00. But I got up at midnight because I was compelled to make a difference. Not yes for me, but honestly, the thoughts weren't about, okay, I'm going to grow that $100 million company, which there's nothing wrong with that. But it wasn't that much work. It was actually it was like this compelling thought, like there are people sitting in their houses right now that need this formula. I need to reach them. Like it legitly was like that. Like it was like, okay, there's moms that are single right now that need to figure out how to change their finances now. There are men that are divorcing from women who are taking half of everything that they've got, and they're pissed off and they're mad, and I just need to come in and show them how to make more, right? And be generous. You know, I literally woke up with this, like I've got to do something. And it wasn't from panic. It wasn't from scarcity. It wasn't from feeling sorry for those people. It was from, I feel compelled to, risk more, give more, find another team to help me reach more people to help them unleash, right? At the same time, I've got a lot of work in my community right now because I've helped a lot of people become very, very comfortable in overflow. And now I need to unrattle their stubbornness of, I don't want to give more. If I have to give more, then I don't know if I want this business anymore. I have to unrattle the chains of limitation from those people. So I've got a lot on my plate right now that I'm working on. I'm working on the group that I've already helped get here, go there, right? And then I'm working with this team of like, how do I reach more people? Like, how do I get more Google AdWords going? How do I do more banner advertising? How do I spend like $40,000 a day to reach people? How do I do that? Right? Like, how do we sustain through that? It's like on a mission, right? And so that unleashment really happens from, I believe, working with God, not foolishly working with God. Like, I'm just going to risk and hope a net shows up underneath me. It's like, no, you have to look at analytics. You have to understand numbers. You have to understand your positioning, your messaging. How do you land your messaging? If your sales conversation doesn't land with people and your conversion rates are low, then that's where you should be focusing on mastering right now, so that all this other stuff that sounds exciting that I'm talking about, like if you think you're going to throw money at Facebook ads or Google AdWords and your company's just going to explode, it doesn't work that way. Otherwise, all of us would be doing it. Right? I would have taken out a massively risky loan when I started my company if I could just go hire the best Facebook team to make me the most amount of money. The problem is that if you don't have the best Facebook team, when you figured out your messaging, your positioning, and can take a stand and you're not afraid of a bunch of people hating your guts and a bunch of people just loving the shit out of you, if you mentally can't handle the leadership of people saying they want to stop working with you or they want to cancel the contracts, or you can't mentally handle the leadership of, trying to find staff members or contractors to work with you. If you can't handle the leadership of, leading your team so that they can follow through and hit their deadlines, if you can't handle that stuff, then, trust me, throwing money at something is not going to make it work, right? So there's all this personal mastery that needs to happen in the process of reaching more people. And I believe one of the biggest parts of that is your relationship with God. And because I think that if you think you're tactically or strategically going to make it to the goal or the dream that you have, hopefully that's big. If it's not big enough, message me. Like, don't just keep watching these lives and not messaging me. Don't be the person that's afraid to message me. Like, it might take me a couple days to get back to you because we get a lot of messages, but I will get back to you because you can trust me on that. Right? You can trust me on that because I'm not melting over here under the pressure. And I don't want you to be either. So know that if you're melting under pressure right now, get into scripture, right? It will help give you the strength. Figure out your leadership. Don't do it alone, right? Like, I can help you with that. Your formulas, honest to God, you're not going to have a lot of them in the scope of your entire business. Most of your work growing a company is, yes, there's strategies for lead gen, fulfillment, and then follow through. And then the rest is team, you guys. The rest is your mindset around your leadership and growing team. Because as that keeps happening, once you figure out your messaging, your positioning, and all that type of stuff, you will start landing. I do a lot of that work for 3 or 4 years with my clients. I mean, when you hear these big explosions, like, I made $100 million in 3 years, don't forget about their life experience, the multiple decade before that they were learning how to develop their personal leadership, right? So the game is if you can develop your leadership quicker, if you can get better at not fighting with your spouse, if you can get better at not being emotionally triggered when you have a contractor like a virtual assistant or even your coach, if you could stop blaming and you could actually really play the game of chess. Life is a game of chess, and you can do that with God, then what you're going to find is your leadership is going to raise. But don't do that alone because it'll take a long time. I work with a lot of people who have been in business for like 7 years and they're still not making money, or they've been thinking about this business for a long time, but they've never pulled the trigger to start something because they're still trying to figure out what they're going to offer, right? Like I've seen all ranks of Satan working in people's lives to hold you from making a bigger difference. So, but I want you to know that you don't need a ton of strategies to make millions and millions of dollars and to help millions of people. You don't, right? You don't need a ton of strategies. You really need to do one thing really well and then build a team around you that can repurpose all your content, right? That can, if you want podcasts, they can repurpose things and make them podcasts. There's a lot of things that you can do to leverage what you're doing so you're not working harder. So it looks a lot of times like influencers are everywhere, and they are. They're on every social platform everywhere. But they also have these massive email databases, which are their insurance policies, that they front load all of their book launches, their product launches, their social media challenges. All of it comes from back here. It front loads all of that stuff. So it looks like they're freaking ridiculously powerful. And like, what are they saying that's causing that response? It's like, no. What do you say that causes a bunch of shares, right? Like if you're watching something that I'm doing and you're loving it, you should be sharing it, right? You should be sharing it. That's how we know what we should give more of, right? It's feedback. That's what we should give more of. And on Instagram, it's like tagging people, other entrepreneurs. When we see a bunch of tags come up on our channels, we go, oh, that topic made a difference. Okay, let me think and get better and get more intimate about what other things around that topic can we give for free to help you explode, right? So it really, like all of these things are relationship-based marketing, right? It just all is. And so market-based service. So this was a bit of a rant, but I hope this made a difference for you on Coffee with Shanda this morning. And tomorrow morning, I'm actually going to have one of my favorite people on. There was a time in my life that I was working really hard. And I had small dreams, but they felt like big dreams to me. And that was my dream, to make $5,000 a month. And I thought I'd be rich at that. And I just wanted to own a home. I just wanted to meet a nice man. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have kids. And I wanted to be really physically fit. And I just wanted to spend a lot of time with God, right? And that's what I wanted to do. And that was my big dream life, which now I look at that, and that was just what I thought I deserved. I mean, it's the biggest I could actually dream for myself, because I just thought that was what a good life was, because somebody told me that was what a good life was. What I realized is that was a normal life. Grow up, get married, buy a home, that's a good investment, and just live your life. And then I opened up to a whole new world of like real estate investing and leadership and big dreams and online marketing and, and it just escalated. But my point is I remember back then and, I remember walking into a training and training with this woman. Her name's Judith. And she pulled me up. I could cry because it was such a, thank God for this woman, because she stood me in front of a room and she looked at me and she said, "You have no idea who you are." And it was like this pressure of the world lifted off of me because I didn't have to lie anymore. I didn't have to pretend anymore that I had it all together, because I didn't. I didn't have to pretend. And I do have it all together now. And guess why I do? I have a freaking army called Hardcore Business of team members that help me hold my clients up and make a difference. And it does feel like I have it all together now and I can create. But in that moment, I was still striving and everything was hard. And Judith looked at me and she said, "Honey, you have no idea who you are. Let me help you with that." And she transformed my life over the course of 4 days. And I've never been the same. And believe it or not, I went off to sell $170 million in real estate in literally just over a year. I never had a vision or a dream of that, ever. And I didn't have it when I did it either, but I had a big vision that she opened up for me. And that big vision allowed me to show up in a way that created a miracle. And so I now have Hardcore Business based out of growing that vision. When I grew that vision, I realized that I was powerful. I realized that I am power, that you are powerful, and that us together, if we can wake up and we can develop our leadership much, much stronger, that we can get out of our own way and we can create something spectacular and meaningful with our life. Judith is going to be with me tomorrow on Coffee with Shanda at 6 a.m. So this is not something that she normally does. She trains in China. She trains all around the world. She will also be training with us with it just for entrepreneurs and executive employees or staff members. In January, we are going to do a training with her. So Instagram, if you want to join us on Hardcore Business on Facebook Live tomorrow morning, promise you will not be, it won't be a bad 20 minutes. It'll be an incredible 20 minutes. And so she will join me on tomorrow morning. So definitely tune in, bring your friends, share Coffee with Shanda tomorrow morning. Let's help a lot of people have the moment that I had in the training room 13 years ago when she helped me figure out who I am. So God bless. Have a great day. Have a great day. And I will see you guys on Coffee with Shanda at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow morning. Bye.